Starry-Eyed Hermit says, when doing a lot of readings back to back, how do you keep yourself focused and just defaulting to set meanings? So for me, keeping myself focused and not defaulting. The funny thing is, when I do my member readings, I can be reading for anywhere from 4 to 7 hours, depending on how much I squirrel out and talk about random things, because those are kind of like member hangouts too. But I'm reading really steady, and it's really interesting to see once I get into doing readings like that back to back to back to back to back, I hit what I call a flow state kind of, or like I get in the flow or the zone or whatever. And I'll notice because my nose will get itchy and everything becomes even more effortless. And I think actually that for me personally, I find that doing back to back readings makes it easier to focus, be in touch with my intuition, not overthink. Because let me tell you, when I sit down for myself and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do a reading. Cool. I'm just going to sit down, pull some cards, okay, here's my reading for the day. And I'm going to stare at it for like a minute. And I'm going to be like, what? Do you guys ever have this experience? You just like, you pull cards and you look at it and you're like, I don't know. I don't know what it means. I don't know. You know what I mean? But when I'm in the flow, when I've been doing readings for a minute, they come faster and faster. You know why? When I am doing readings back to back, when I'm going quickly, when I'm not doing whatever, I get out of my own way. And suddenly it's like, I don't have to reach for a meaning. It just comes, right? Let me pull back out the Tarot of Mystical Moments because it's shuffled and it's bigger, so we'll be able to see it better. So like, I find that I'm more likely to default to rote meanings when I'm sitting down just to do like one reading, weirdly. Because you know why? My eyes go right to the title of the card. It's like what we were saying earlier. If I pull 3 cards and I'm tired or I'm unfocused or whatever, like you mentioned, how do I keep my focus? I'll tend to fixate on the titles. What does the Nine of Pentacles mean? What does the Three of Cups mean? What does the Ace of Wands mean? When I'm in the flow, especially when I'm kind of doing a lot of readings, it becomes too, I don't know how to describe it. I just get out of my head as much and I get more into my intuition. I get more into trusting myself because as a tarot reader, whether you're reading for yourself or for other people, but I find this especially when you're reading for other people, it's really easy to get hung up on what if it's not correct? What if I'm not reading this card the right way? And heaven forbid you're reading for somebody who knows tarot. Then the intimidation level just goes through the roof. You're like, oh my God, giving yourself permission to get what you get from the card and trust that it's what you need to see in that card in that moment is, I think, the most difficult to learn. But once you learn it, is the most powerful reading technique in your tool belt. Because the moment you begin to trust your instincts and not get in your own way, not worry about whether it's right or not, is the moment you start to give bang on readings over and over and over again, every single time, because you're not getting in your way with your brain. You're letting your brain get out of the way and you're letting your intuition step into the driver's seat. And when you do that, you open up so much ability for interpretation. But here's the trick, okay? The trick is let yourself say the strange thing. Let yourself say the strange thing. And if you're reading for somebody else, give yourself permission to say the strange thing by saying out loud, hey, I don't know if this is going to make any sense to you, but for whatever reason, when I'm looking at this card right now, all I'm thinking is that she needs to close the book and focus on herself. Stop focusing on what the book is telling her and just listen to her own gut. That's not what the Ace of Wands means. I'm sure you can make a case for it. You sat long enough with it. But I gave myself permission to say it by saying, look, I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but this is all I can think of when I look at this card. Or the first thing I notice about this card is this bluebird and the way that she's looking at this girl. Or I'm noticing that she's got grapes on her head. Why the hell is she carrying a bunch of fruit on her head? Why are you carrying all this stuff you don't need? That's the Nine of Pentacles. So some of it is like, let yourself move with the reading. Give yourself permission to say the first thing you think or the first thing that pops into your mind, even if it's wrong, especially if it's wrong. And sometimes when you first start doing that, you feel like a fake. You feel like you're making it up. Over time, you realize that that's often where the most powerful readings come from because you're not overthinking it. You're not letting your logic get in the way of your intuition. But a lot of this is really about giving yourself permission. And when I'm doing readings back to back, like in my member readings, what I find is that because I'm reading over and over and over and over again, if I stop to like overthink every card, I'm going to be there 4 times as long, right? So you just, out of a necessity of, I need to keep this moving, you learn to get out of your way. And getting out of your way is awesome. I think that's why I give some of my best readings when I get into that flow state. It often takes me a minute. The first few readings, if you were to go and watch back, if you're a member and you go back and watch back some of those reading streams, you can see it happen. You can see the moment when I move from slower, more cerebral readings to more in the flow state readings. They get quicker, they get punchier, they get direct. I have less hesitation. And so you'll notice that that shifts. I learned that skill initially because when I was first reading, sorry, I guess I can do this. When I was first reading for the public, I would host these like tarot and tea events. And at these tarot and tea events, I would do back to back like 10 to 15 minute readings. But here's the thing, my favorite spread is the Celtic Cross. The Celtic Cross is a 10 card spread, but I love the Celtic Cross. So when I was doing these 10 to 15 minute readings back to back, like I had people booked. This wasn't like just stand in line. Like even then that would be pressure, but these were booked. People had time slots. Like I had to stay on track, which means if I wanted to read the Celtic Cross, I had to get through a 10 card Celtic Cross in under 15 minutes. I learned to get the hell out of my own way. Now, I didn't have to do that to myself. Apparently, I'm a glutton for punishment. But the thing is, I love the Celtic Cross. And so I learned how to get in the flow state with the Celtic Cross, doing reading after reading after reading after reading after reading. And what I found was those readings were the readings where I had people going, oh my God, how did you know that? Oh my God. Like, because I would just say stuff. I wouldn't think about it. I would just, what's flowing through me? And I would let it flow through me. Now, not everybody's going to approach tarot that way. Not everybody's going to approach card reading in such a naturally intuitive way. And some of us are going to find that harder than starting with the foundational meaning and building from there. So there's different methods that work for different people. For some folks, it might be easier to start with a rote tarot meaning, something that you've memorized, like a keyword, and lay that as a foundation and then let yourself explore from there. That way you've given yourself the confidence to have that foundational piece and you can just build and build and build on top of that. So I don't know. Again, it's easy for me to get in the weeds with these answers, but I hope that that was helpful.